Hello, you're watching Nacho. This is Tom Schnauz, writer of this episode, 103.
Peter Gould, co-creator of Better Call Saul.
Vince Gilligan, the other co-creator.
Everyone, Michael Mando, I play Nacho Vargo.
Hello, Mark Johnson, an executive producer.
Julianne Emery, I play Betsy Kettleman.
Hey, the lovely Julianne. It's good to have you. Good to have you on one of these.
Yes.
Woo!
And we were just talking about the that opening shot with Gordon Gekko's phone flying into
I love
into
that.
frame.
I love the opening shot that clunks down into the...
And we have no idea where this is yet, right?
No.
Not really, not until you see this shot right here, the DO's Department of Corrections shot. Actually, that wouldn't tell you where
But
it
it doesn't
is.
tell.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Or when. We were just talking about the big giant cell phone tower.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're talking it's early 90s.
Yeah,
where we
early
put this at.
90s.
Yeah, and I love Jimmy's wig right here. Trish Alameda did a great job on the men's hair. It's almost a mullet, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Mullet,
It is.
mullet,
Jimmy
mullet
refers
esque.
to Albuquerque, but you don't know if you're in Albuquerque or not.
Well, at the
It
end,
turns out-
he mentions Cook County.
Yeah,
yes.
you understand
County.
later. But I like the disorientation of this opening.
It's so much fun, and this episode is directed by Terry McDonough, who directed the original Saul Goodman episode of Breaking Bad, and
Which you
Terry,
wrote.
which I wrote, and Terry's a wonderful director who's got a great eye, and his suggestion to make this flashback have this sort of what we call a bleach bypass look, although it's all digital. There's no bleach involved really. It has this kind of blue look with the shadows crushed, and that's going to end
the
up.
backlight. Another trick you do is what Arthur Albert would do. Our DP was kind of backlight the windows and have them blow out, so there's kind of a bloom to some of these lights.
I like how that it bounces off the table, too.
Yeah, which also helps with some of the makeup effects.
And I also like that we started this inside this room, looking over a fluorescent light with the buzz onto Chuck, saying that there's no sign of his problem at this point in time.
Oh, he's got a cell phone that must run off a fucking car battery or something.
Wasn't that the ones my dad had one of those with the giant antenna on top of the car that had to hook to the side of the door?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
do you
Your
remember?
dad was
That
cool.
Yeah.
Remember CBs? CB radios?
Sure.
Okay, I'm just going to say it one more time. The men's wigs in this make me very happy.
They are. They're great. They're great.
There's some wonderful wig acting going on. And I'm joking, but Bob, and it's not just on this show, but if you look at Mr. Show or any of his other, when he was Birthday Boys,
I was just gonna bring up
Bob
Birthday
always
Boys.
has a wonderful selection of wigs and
Or
different
not
kinds
wigs,
of hair
like
acting.
scalp things
He is, yes. So I mean, that's something I've never asked him about. But this is our first look at Slippin Jimmy, and he's quite the dude. I love how Bob moves his arms. And Tom, what was the story with the handcuffs? I remember there was something that you mentioned about the handcuffs. Was the idea that he would get uncuffed when he came in?
There was a question of what reality was, but Bob felt like he wanted to be wearing these and have them on and have the leg braces on it. He said it helped him within the scene.
This is a wonderful stage set too, right?
No, this is the basement of where we shoot the court scenes.
Also, in this scene, I'm not sure if it was Peter or Vince who publicly said something about the colors being hotter, indicating bad guys to the public. But every episode, people would tweet to me and talk about the color of my clothing getting more hotter and hotter. The colors getting
is
more orange or red.
A signal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an idea you had, Peter.
Well, we love playing with color and using color as an element to the story.
It's nice to give meaning to things. It's just not random. It's just like, oh, don't put this person in an orange suit Vince did that. I mean, it was throughout Breaking Bad. I mean, you have a color spectrum and things take on meaning.
This is Kat Bardot's hand, actually.
Our makeup artist.
Our makeup
right?
artist.
The lovely Kat Bardot.
We shot that on the last day of production.
Is that also her lipstick?
Probably.
Could
Probably.
be. I think she knows where to get it.
She's kind of full service that way as far as help with the propage. With back to the color. Yeah, and the color means something slightly different in this show than Breaking Bad. On this show, specifically, red means criminal. So, so we are very careful who we put into red clothing and how much we put on them and how vibrant the red is. And that was a good idea you had, Peter, about the red, the meaning of red on this show.
I think the original notion was that Jimmy's, and I think it's evolved a little bit, but the original idea was that the crime world is sort of appealing to him. It has emotional heat, and then reflect that through. It's really mostly the costumes because we only have a certain amount of control over the locations. Although here's Arthur changing the color of the location. Arthur Albert, our DP, using these wonderful gels and these wonderful colors.
Yeah, that red light off what that would be the neon sign from outside.
So this scene coming up was the first thing I ever wrote for Better Call Saul, which became an audition piece for the actresses who came in to audition for the role of Kim.
I love this scene.
So it was great to see, because we didn't really know who the character was at all when we knew very little about her. So I got a chance to play around, and we worked it in the room and got it right. And then we saw the tapes of all the wonderful actresses who came in, and then Ray just kind of blew it away for us. I mean,
How often does he call her for phone sex?
Stay tuned for season 2.
Hey, Tom, how much did you guys know? How many episodes did you guys know by the time we showed up in Albuquerque? How many episodes have you guys written about?
Good question. I think
we were breaking episode 7
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
Vince was directing episode 1.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
And I remember going on one weekday or weekend when I was prepping one and checking in with you guys, and you guys were working in a little conference room at one of the local motels or hotels.
That's right.
Working on episode 7, and you guys caught me up to date on what you'd done. And episode 7 is a great one, and you guys were just breaking away on that while I was prepping.
We had a lot of fun, and it was it's when you're directing, it's such a challenge to break away from all the work you have to do in prep to come in. So we were really glad to have you come in.
Well, I guess the ultimate point, now that I realize it, of the story I was just telling, there was a deeper point to it, which is that the entire writing staff was in Albuquerque
That's
at
true.
that time, which was an unusual thing, but it was so we could maximize our time face-to-face together. But
That's
everybody
right.
came out because you needed to be there helping with prep on the first episode, and yet the room had to keep going.
That's right. And
I would never have met all the writers if that had not been the case.
That's right,
I
because
met you all in that room at the hotel.
Yeah, because you were checking in while we were
Yes,
working.
with
then I
my-
think
with
it
my
was-
suitcases.
It might have been Jen Carroll, I'm not sure, said something. The Kettlemans are here. The Kettlemans are here. And the next
We
day,
always arrive
and the next-
together.
and you both arrived together. I guess you and Jeremy didn't know each other. But then the next thing we knew, there you were in the room. And the funny thing was that we were actually in the middle of breaking episode 7, which was the return of the Kettlemans. So it was kind of exciting to meet you guys.
That's awesome.
Tom, you were there when they shot this, right?
I was there, yes.
Were both actors, was the off-screen actor there, or would
They did reach
one
each
another
other,
phone?
yeah. They did, and actually it's funny, this Kim's bedroom set is actually an empty storefront next to where we shot the nail salon.
Oh, really?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Is it
so we didn't-
really?
just production-wise, we were like, when are we going to, could we, it was harder to go back to the stage and build this thing than to just put a bed in the store and just paint it and make it to look like, that's why we never only see
You'd never
2
know.
walls.
So we're like people just peering in the plate glass at her in bed there?
No, they weren't. They
I'll
had-
take that
she had
bed.
curtains on the window. But Bob was there off screen when we were doing her side, and she was there while Bob was doing the lines in the nail salon.
And it really was the middle of the night because the wide shot shows that it's night outside.
For the wide shots, for the closer shots, we tented the window and did all the stuff facing into the nail salon as daytime.
You sure?
And then when we turned around or did the exterior shots, that was actually night. We just pulled the tent off.
So the closer stuff was done earlier, and then later on after the
Yeah, this
sun
is
went
after the
down.
sun went down. Yeah, so
This
we
was the
weren't-
last stuff.
Yes.
Good night, Kim. Good night, Jimmy.
I love this scene too because you see more history between Jim and Kimmy. I mean, Kim and Jimmy.
We actually called
We
him
did-
Kimmy.
we call him- we
in
call
the
him
writer's
Kimmy in the
room.
room.
We
We
just
call him
started
Kimmy
calling
in
him
the room.
Kimmy.
No,
yes.
but after the cigarette thing, you're like, what the hell is going on there? And we
Sort of
get a
like
little more-
Brangelina or whatever, Kim and Kimmy.
There's always something really intimate about talking to someone while you're in bed too, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never done that.
Liar.
Yeah. Whoa. I know that 800 number.
Roll over. I don't want to see your face.
You know,
I know you've reached Gould Nuggets. 1-800-GOULD-NUGGETS.
I would like to know in the writer's room who came up with the sex robot voice that's about to happen here.
That was it, Tom? That was you? Was that?
I dubbed it the sex robot voice. I don't know why.
Yeah, but who has done this in their childhood?
I'm just going to say, clearly, the writer knows the sex robot.
No, we talked about a voice, how to disguise a voice, and I'm pretty sure, Vince, you were talking about putting a piece of wax paper over a tube.
Because I know I did it as a kid, but I remember it working better as a kid.
Yeah, 'cause there was also something about, I think,
Really?
You were a kid.
Well, that's true. I was a
if you
kid.
put wax paper in a comb was something I remember talking like through that, and it made it, you know,
Wax
funny.
paper was better in my day when I was a child.
Back in the day.
But
you
how
know,
did it come sex robot?
I needed later on. I needed Kim to be familiar with this thing that he did with a tube and a piece of wax paper, so I just naturally leapt to sex robot.
Yeah,
As
you
one
left
does.
there. That's definitely not from life.
I
You definitely-
actually kept on pitching that we call this episode "Sex Robot," and Tom did not want to call it "Sex Robot,"
But
which
it
is
is.
uncharacteristic of Tom.
I know,
I will
it is.
say.
It would have to be sex roboto.
That's right.
There we go.
I just wanted to call it taint.
Taint.
Yeah. I don't know. What are you gonna do?
Stop besmirching my
I
character.
got to say,
Oh, I love this
Okay.
outgoing message. The
I was going
Kettleman's
to say,
outgoing
it's the
message.
best message I've heard. I want to shoot the whole family.
You immediately know who these people are in your
That's right,
neighborhood, right?
exactly.
Talk about doing that outgoing message.
Well, we did it. It was the first thing that we did. We, as a family, the very first thing we did was take some of the pictures that we see in the house here. And then, but the first thing we did together was this message. And we were sitting around the living room working it out with the kids. And we practiced and they were all into it. And I don't think the kids knew it was bad. But I think one of my favorite things about the message is in post is the music you put underneath it. The bad
Yes.
synthesizer music that sounds like
Yes.
it's from a local bingo calling thing or something.
Thomas
great.
found some great music for us there.
Thomas G.
I saw
Fountain,
a picture on the internet that people were pulling out some of the graffiti on the phone and in other episodes, and they were matching it to graffiti artists
Yeah.
in Breaking Bad. Is that intentional?
You know what? We had a gentleman, and I apologize to him. I am drawing a blank on his name, but he was our graffiti expert. He did the on-set graffiti, and he probably did it for Breaking Bad as well. I think.
I have to call out, Julian, your performance in this.
Yes.
scene. This is one of the moments I fell in love with Mrs. Kettleman
Yes.
because of the way you turn. You turn a little bit like Michael Keaton as Batman. Like you like that. Your cowl doesn't.
Didn't
Your
you
neck
know
doesn't
that
move.
Betsy Kettleman is Batman?
Your whole body turns. It's especially when you leave the next shot of.
I know.
You
That's
know,
good.
we talked about this on the Insider podcast. I don't know how that started, but there came a point. It started in the first episode, and then I didn't feel like her unless I was doing it. It's about to happen right here when
There
we
you go.
turn. Yeah,
This is one of my favorites.
I love that we just both stood up subtly at the same time as well. There's some
That's it.
we're like
It's like my neck doesn't move.
Yeah.
I love that.
The way these. Yes.
I always feel like she's a freight train, or her energy is a freight train and has to go in one direction at once.
I
She's
like
very
that.
focused in.
And then Jeremy
I
just
like
kind of he
that.
gets right out of the way.
I hit him on the arm. You can't see that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, in the shot.
And there was so much debate in the writer's room about what do we see here? What do we see the Kettleman seeing? Do we see Nacho or do we not see Nacho? Do we keep it a shadowy figure that we don't recognize? Because we wanted some mystery to it when Nacho is in custody about whether he did this or not.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that, okay, he was there. He must have taken the Kettlemans. But no, what happened instead?
And that was not Michael there. That was a.
That wasn't, no, we had a stand-in that day because
I would have done that scene differently.
You would have leaned differently.
I'm sure you
You
would
know,
have. By the
when
way.
I saw this,
I'm sorry it didn't work out timing wise.
By the way,
I know you would
where
have.
the hell was he? What else he was doing is more important to have been in the shot.
I thought I was being replaced.
This is did you say his name? Peter Deseth?
He-
Deseth? He's wonderful.
he's great. You know, when this scene started, I thought Jimmy was practicing in the bathroom again, like he was in the
Okay.
first episode.
No, you just can't leave some poor guy alone
Yeah.
while he's trying to take a dump.
Well, Jimmy's fighting for justice.
He's fighting.
Here.
That's why we love him.
He is, and this guy is too busy to even know which one of the
Case?
which case he's talking about. And I think the idea was always that Jimmy's feeling the pressure from last night. He's feeling a little guilty and concerned about what happened with the Kettlemans.
He doesn't know what Nacho's going to do.
He gives it a little extra oomph here.
Little does he know, Mrs. K can take care of herself.
Oh, God.
Is that a challenge?
Potentially young man Nacho. Bring it.
They have never faced off. Oh, boy.
My money's on Mrs. Kettleman.
Somebody asked me in an interview, what would Mrs. Kettleman say to Nacho? And I said, pull up your pants.
His pants are low.
They are,
His pants, no, they're not. They're like at waist level.
They are. I know. I went for comedy instead of
Oh, I see. You went for stereotyping. Is what you did.
Sorry.
You're profiling.
Oh, Mrs. Kettleman would. There's a crusty old bastard.
Jonathan Banks, the lovable.
When I met Jonathan Banks,
Man.
I was sitting in the makeup trailer, and he walked up the stairs, and I didn't hear anything except great gams. I was wearing shorts.
He said that to me too.
Yeah.
And then I proceeded to get to know the nicest man on the planet, you know.
Girly, I will punch you in the heart.
I can never tell if he's going to punch me in the heart or punch me in the throat next. That's
haven't-
that's the gamble you take with Jonathan.
I have an aunt who's an ADA in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
and she has talked about how right on the scenes with Jimmy in the courthouse are, and like what that whole culture is.
Well, that's great
Yeah,
to hear.
the coffee and the and the talking in the bathroom, and no sleep.
By the way, you know that gesture is not going to go unpunished.
No.
There's no
Yes.
way he's not getting back at Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy's really crossed the line
Yep.
here.
This is the first day of shooting.
Oh,
This is
yeah?
the very first scene we shot.
Very first shot?
No,
Okay, but first scene.
first scene, yeah, but windy as hell.
What is with the wind? Why couldn't you do something about that?
Yeah,
You know what you can
The hell kind
tell?
of-
This is
producer
Mark
are you?
Johnson's department.
What?
You can tell the scene in the backyard. We're going to see in 20 minutes now.
Yes.
Was
Yeah.
shot on the same day
Yeah.
because
Yes.
the same wind is
That's
blowing
right.
away.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's just always windy at the Kettlemans. It's actually thematic. It's something thematic that we did.
The
Wicked
fans
Witch
are
of
We're
the West.
giant-
I see
as
where
if
we're
it's
going.
raining.
We brought
Passing
every
by.
Ritter fan in the Southwest out to this location.
That's right.
It works though.
It always does great things to Bob's hair.
It does. And yet Patrick's doesn't move at all.
No, because he's a perfect handsome
perfect.
bastard, no
He
matter
is
what.
specimen.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
He's a great guy.
He really
love
is.
Patrick.
He's terrific.
I'm sick of people saying nice things about him.
Say something mean, Tom. Go ahead.
He's too tall.
Too good looking.
He's too symmetrical. Why can't he have a hair lip?
Why can't he have a goiter?
Yeah. Give him a goiter.
Next season.
He squeezes me too hard when he kisses
Next
me.
season's all goiters.
Yeah.
That's our tease.
You cup your balls with it.
I think this is the sex robot scene we were talking about.
No, that comes a little
does it
bit.
come later?
She's this is touching base, and I love how anxious Bob gets here.
By the way, I love that in the background action that a cop actually holds up the yellow
Yeah.
warning tape
Yeah.
to let him. Everybody respects this son of a bitch.
That's true.
That's true.
was a
He's
nice
got
touch.
pull. He's
does.
like the Mark Johnson of Albuquerque.
Well, no one's quite that.
Say something if you could help find them, right?
Was this Kim's Ray's first talking scene in this season?
No,
Like,
she
didn't.
talks in one.
She talks in one,
Ah,
but
that's true.
this episode
Just one word, though. Or
yeah,
two
there's
words,
just a few words in the garage. This episode's the first time we really start sketching in their relationship. And
This scene was her first full scene to shoot.
This is the
though,
first
right?
scene-
I mean, her
scene-
scene where she had lots of dialogue.
First scene we knew she could speak English.
yes.
First time we figured it might have been
Yeah, we
phonetic.
had just
No.
run an ad in Craigslist, and she was the only one who showed up, and so we were just hoping for something good.
And just a minor thing, I don't know if this is interesting to anyone. What you're seeing right here, this used to be the original end of Act 1.
That's right.
And in the editing room, we decided it was more dramatic to go out on the Kettlemans looking out the window.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah.
And I love these shots Terry gets.
It rarely changes.
Terry McDonough, such great work.
I love he framed in the red. Is that a fire hose thing?
Yeah.
That is a standpipe.
Standpipe, there you go. Look at that.
Standpipe.
Of which more later.
I believe that is a standpipe, I think.
I I'm so jazzed by the 70s Alan Pakula paranoia of this sequence. It just reminds me of The Parallax View,
true.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
one of those great paranoid movies that always had a score by Michael Small.
Made better here by Dave Porter.
Dave Porter.
Great,
Dave Porter
great piece of music.
does great here, and but I love the way it's cut. I love the way it's staged. I love everything about it.
And explain this to me. This phone is tapped, so that the cops know.
No, but
Nacho's
they
phone
have
is
Nacho's. They have Nacho's drop phone, Nacho's cell phone. So
they're getting the other side of all these calls.
Right, got it.
yes,
They've since picked up Nacho
Right,
because of they saw the van. The neighbor saw the van and the license plate.
right.
And
I love
But the cops are hearing Jimmy.
Jimmy call and leave these messages.
yes.
Nacho, leave it.
Yeah, Nacho. Hi. Just to clarify, look, I don't know anything. I have spoken to no one, and there are no rats on this ship. But for the sake
And
of
did you
everyone
guys
who
have
loves
to,
us, just like
all of the payphones, did you have to put them in the location?
Yes, these we
That's a
did.
very good question. So
Those were
And-
not there originally.
And did you find, like, this has graffiti on it, and I noticed in the last shot there was rust on the bottom of it. Did they come like that? or-
our on-set painters, all the folks in the art department, create all these wonderful little minute details. They're masters of their art, and a lot of that rust and all that stuff is added in. And the graffiti,
on this man.
to the best of my knowledge, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, has to be added in by our guy.
So I guess that answers the question earlier. Some fans have picked out that some of the graffiti is the same.
It's the same, yeah.
But
Yeah.
part of that might be that they're picking out graffiti that we know clears.
Clear, yeah.
Right.
But that makes sense because it's the same city.
Yeah.
So that
Yes.
would make total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, of course, there are a lot fewer payphones around now.
Yeah,
than there
where
were
do
in
you find
2002.
these payphones?
There's a rental house, set deck rental
Prop
house.
house, yeah.
Prop
Wow.
house rents them. Yeah.
A lot of this stuff, but we have to think of these things a little bit early because not all of it is in Albuquerque. Every once in a while there's something that has to be trucked from Los Angeles. Although more and more everything's right there.
I don't know if this counts as a prop or a set deck because the guy's interacting with it. Jimmy's interacting with it, and yet it's probably probably falls under set deck. It's probably in the gray area between the two.
I remember Vince in our tone meeting. I think you requested one of the phones not have a receiver on it, and then Terry came up with this great shot looking past, focusing only on the wiring.
Yeah.
Right. That is a nice shot. Terry is a great.
Yeah.
Terry
Where did you get
started.
this shot? Well, I mean,
It's
was
just a
this like,
crane. We hit,
I was just going to ask if it was a crane or did somebody go on a roof?
Was it a crane or a cherry? I mean, was it a camera crane or like a cherry picker or something?
I believe this was like a cherry picker type.
Gotcha.
That's pretty high up.
Yeah.
And it must have been there on that day for another shot, too. Because I can't imagine we rented a crane for just this one shot.
Says the executive producer.
In retrospect,
Quite the imagination you have
he's
there.
going back and like,
That's cutting into my profits.
I said, okay, we can afford it, but we're going to have to take some actors' money.
I love this shot through
Yeah,
the
this-
rear view window.
This is great. You can see
rear
both
mirror.
of them in one.
Yeah.
Both of them in one shot. Yes.
Terry McDonough is a great shot maker. He's a Brit, started off in the UK as a camera operator and then got into directing. Directed that great Doctor Who movie of a couple seasons ago.
And the first episode of Breaking Bad that he directed was the first episode of American television he ever directed.
Oh, that's
He
right.
had never directed outside the UK before.
Wow. He's also fast.
He's
He's
very
fast,
fast.
and good.
Speaking of fast, Bob is actually in very good shape. And during the first couple of takes, I was like, "You got to look like you're struggling," because he rides a bike everywhere. And
He does.
He's actually very athletic.
And wasn't there some special camera mount that we saw there for a little bit?
Do you mean the trailing and the following? Yeah,
yes.
they had it on a little, some kind of rig.
Like a motorcycle
motorized-
sidecar.
Yeah,
Four-wheeler or
like a
something?
four-wheeler type
Okay,
of thing
yeah.
where they...
Quad runner, whatever they call it. Yeah.
It's big movies.
That's one of the first things Bob told me when I was cast. He was like, there are all these great bike trails in Albuquerque. You got to get a bike.
yeah, he sent us all a folder.
There's the man.
Yeah.
Whoa.
There's the man.
Oh, Michael, I
nervous
love
already.
this scene so much. You're so good.
Thank you. Terry and Bob and Thomas, who wrote it, did such a great job. Made it easy.
So this is a
Is this
set.
your character's introduction?
No.
It's his second. He's in episode 2. Yeah, this is.
Oh,
his,
right. With
This is his
Hugo.
third
Watch
scene.
the series.
I know.
Yeah, you got
Anyway, this is a set. As opposed to the hall. The hallway was actually shot on location, and then we transitioned here. And then we had some difficulty because we didn't have a wall outside this door for some reason, and we had a hell of a time. Skip McDonald and Vince and Peter editing this so that to get Bob in the room in a way that made sense. We just didn't have a wall
That was
out
a
there.
little tricky, as I recall.
Yeah.
I remember we had a discussion at the beginning of this scene with Terry, Thomas, myself, and Bob, and we were talking about what position would Nacho be sitting in. Whether he would have his whether he would be on his elbows and his back hunched, or whether he would stand straight.
I like the choice you made here. I like
The
the way you
relaxed
played.
stillness. I just noticed, like, the moment that you tracked your eyes to him became a huge moment. It's great as an actor to watch. Like, you're so still, and then you just cut your eyes to him at a specific moment. You were so specific with your inner monologue. It made me scared for him.
It was really interesting to play a character that doesn't speak in situations like this. It really, as an actor, I think forced me to do more work than I would have normally. Well, I mean, I try to do as much work as I can with the time that I have, but it forced me to think about why isn't he speaking? Why isn't he answering at every sentence? And it really created a really intimate relationship with the character where I felt like I needed to understand everything he was thinking.
See, like right there, like you're obviously thinking something, so specific, and it's making me uncomfortable and scared for him. I think,
And that
frankly, it's
that
more
head cock
effective.
means everything. It's
Yeah.
Yes,
He
I mean, a lot
thinks
of it comes from reacting to Bob as well.
Yeah.
You know, you want to be as much as possible in the
Nacho
moment.
thinks Jimmy screwed him, took away his score, and he's just brought him in here to hear what he has to say. He's basically waiting to figure out what his game is here.
Yeah, and the patience it takes to be so angry at somebody and say nothing.
Yeah.
You know, your instinct is always to kind of like sort of burst off at someone, but to say nothing and to hold that in.
Give my score to another crew, and now you're setting me up.
What? Did the cops beat you? Because you're talking like a person with head trauma.
You think you're funny?
What are you saying? Are you saying that you had nothing to do with this? That was your van outside the house. You weren't there?
Yeah, I was there. I was casing the place, figuring out the best way in and out, what time they went to bed, all that. They were fine when I left.
I remember when first reading it, and it was my first time, you know, I wasn't very familiar with you guys, and I was reading this scene, and it says, Nacho stares in the direction. It says Nacho stares at Jimmy, and then a little later in the thing, it says he keeps staring, and he gets more and more angry. He looks at him in a way that would get a dead corpse pregnant. And that's in the stage direction.
That's some
Tom,
nice
thank you
work.
for writing things just for our enjoyment.
My pleasure.
And Vince had one of
Schnauz is
those
such a
too.
poet.
In the first episode ever of the show, the first page says something like, and I've never read any of the scripts before from Breaking Bad. I've obviously seen it, and it says something's turning. What is it? And there's all these kind of deep meaning to it. And then a few lines it says, "No, dumbass, it's a donut."
That's right. Oh, the Cinnabon thing. That's right.
I hate to let this moment go by without
Yeah.
talking
This
about
makes
it.
me jump every
I love
time.
every
The
time.
slamming of the handcuffs
That's such a great moment.
onto that was all Michael wanted to do that. He had an instinct for it. And
it's a
it just
great
every
touch.
I love being in a room with people who see it for the first time because
Did
They
you
jump.
tell Bob you were into it?
I think I did it in the rehearsal, and then it felt right. But I have to say, Thomas, that it also has something to do with our conversation. We were talking about how would Nacho be sitting, and I think Terry kind of wanted him to be hunched over, and we had this discussion about this guy's psychology, thinking that he wouldn't give away that he's beaten at any moment, no matter what is really going on. And then you and I agreed that it was kind of like, because of the boots he was wearing, kind of like an alligator. And that conversation, I think, led to the improv moment of the alligator who would just snap his jaw at a specific
that
moment.
was great.
That's
Good touch.
And it's also just the timing of it is there's something perfect about it. It's one of those things you can't put your finger on because I'm never expecting it.
Oh, I tried to
I'll
surprise
watch-
Bob
I'll
every
watch
time.
I'll watch the scene and I'll think it happens earlier than it does, and then I'll just get into the scene, and then it happens, and it makes me jump.
Yeah,
every
no, I
time.
did try to surprise Bob. I tried to do it.
His reaction,
a
Bob's
little
reaction
later.
too, is really truthful. Like, it doesn't look like he's anticipating at all.
Yeah, I think that
Right.
was the idea, was to just not to always do it off timing.
Nicely done.
Thank you. Thank you, Thomas, for writing it.
So this is back to the real building, right? This is the same, and this is the same building where we see like the lady with the paychecks giving them the $700 paychecks to Jimmy. That's downstairs. This is a different floor. This is the old courthouse in downtown Albuquerque.
And it's the same building where the opening flashback was shot.
Right.
In the prison area, and that's also
We
the
shot that
prison
in the basement of this
in the
building.
basement. Yeah.
Is this building empty now in Albuquerque?
No, there's offices in it, but it is not as it's not as used as it used to be. There used to be actual court proceedings, and now they're in a different building.
They have a nicer, more modern building, but it's wonderful to have a whole building full of interesting locations.
This is also the building on the outside. Same building. The exterior was used in Breaking Bad when Jesse got let go from the police custody and then got kidnapped into the minivan toward the end of season 4.
Was the flag there, or is this something that you guys put the American flag behind Kim and Jimmy talking?
I think Tony Fanning put that in there. That was set dressing. That was chosen.
It made the scene so interesting with that flag in the
That was
background.
a nice touch.
Yeah.
I love that opening photograph too. You see the doll is there, the one that Jimmy
Yeah.
eventually.
Yep.
Yeah.
We shot all those photographs before we did anything else as a family, and we actually did like climb up on rocks together and like sort of hike out together. I think it helped us sort of gel as a little unit.
Because you and your husband are hikers and campers in real life.
We're a hardcore hiking couple, yeah, for sure.
You guys have gone down to hike the Grand Canyon and all?
Yeah, and Melissa Bernstein was like, "Do you think we can get on top of that rock? I don't think we can get up there." And I'm like, "I can get those kids on that rock."
Wow.
We brought them up there, and they had a really good time. So JoJo, the little girl who plays JoJo, help me
Named
with her
after,
name, Belle Sage. Yeah, she's so adorable and so sweet and so cute, and she had the darkest sense of humor with that doll. She kept turning its head all the way around, and she kept saying, "This doll is creepy."
JoJo is named after Betsy Brandt's daughter.
Oh, right.
Oh wow!
Josephine, that's
Here's
right.
another level of pressure to the performance of Betsy Kettleman.
Well,
Wouldn't it be great to see Mrs. Kettleman together with
Marie?
Yeah.
That
Betsy
would
and Marie
be
together?
Marie
amazing.
has is more in touch with reality.
I don't know if the universe could survive it. I don't know if
think
the
so.
moon would crash into the earth.
Hold on to your valuables.
There you go. I love that Jimmy's being a little bit of a detective here.
He's a good Columbo
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
a Columbo moment. But it doesn't land with anybody except for Mike. So it's
Well, he knows something that they don't, is which
That's
that he
true.
he did the late night sex robot voice and scared the hell out of them. So
That's
that
right.
he has a piece of information that
That's
he's
true.
unwilling to give.
He does know something no one else knows.
What is that poster behind Kim? Is that
Is it Stuart
It's
Little?
Stuart
Stuart
Little,
Little,
the movie
which is a
Right.
Sony movie.
right?
Yeah.
So it had to be, yeah.
Yeah.
It makes
It
it easier
just-
to clear.
Yep.
Yes.
That's
And
adorable.
also of the
Written by
time
M.
period.
Night Shyamalan, I believe.
That's shocking.
I think I'm right on this, or at least he wrote one of the drafts, which is kind of interesting. I think I'm right.
That's the
he-
twist ending where you learn Stuart's a ghost.
Yeah, Stuart was dead the whole time.
We've gone way off on
he was
a
a dead
sidebar
child
now.
that had nothing to do with being a mouse.
So is it Jimmy's intuition that says that Nacho's not the person? Is that
It's his talk with you.
it's yeah.
He knows.
Yeah.
He's just talking to you. He knows. Wait a minute. This
He
guy
can feel it.
did not do it. He was blaming me. This is a weird tactic to take if this is something he did and is
Yeah.
trying to cover up. So he
Right.
knows for sure you didn't do it.
Yeah. You're so angry, you're not lying. He can tell you're
You
not
can tell
lying.
he's not
Right,
lying. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And he also
And it behooves him to answer this before the end of the day.
Yeah.
and he has a pretty good idea that the Kettlemans may really have taken that money.
Yes.
So
Here again,
I
we can
don't know
tell we're at
what
the
you're
same
talking
same
about,
day.
Peter. I just find that appalling.
Yeah, I guess that's less
We did shoot here-
libelous.
Alleged money.
We did shoot here 2 days.
And was it with that windy
Yes.
both days?
Probably that windy both days. Yeah.
This, and by the
2
way,
days in a row we shot.
Was this
Oh, right.
boat at this house?
No.
We brought the boat
No, we
in?
brought it in.
Oh,
That
brought
is
it
a
in.
big boat.
It's a big ass boat. This house was very carefully chosen. The folks who live in it are very nice and very accommodating. Very carefully chosen because of its access to the hiking trails and the nature. You know, the outback, as it were.
Great
behind
that we
it.
knew that before
This.
you shot episode 1.
God,
Yeah.
oh my God! This
Yeah.
is this in a nutshell is why one of the myriad of reasons why it's so important to have a lot of lead time when you're doing a TV show, because we had enough lead time to be at 3 or 4 or 5 episodes in breaking story before we were finding the house for the first episode, because we wouldn't have been able to tell this story the way we told it if not for that detail of the house backing onto the wilderness.
And then when we were on the one of the scouts of this house, we looked at the back of it and realized, hey, it's all visible from the backyard. It's like a dollhouse. It's like it's like a cutout dollhouse. Isn't that interesting? And that kind of led us to the whole sequence in episode 7 when Mike retrieves the Kettleman's money.
It's great to be able to write and then see what's happening during the shooting because again, Michael McKean's performance shaped what Chuck becomes.
Yes.
And knowing what this house is and where it was helped shape how we unfolded the plot for
Can
episode
you
7.
imagine if you were doing network television and you're one episode
No,
ahead?
it would
You
never
will
happen.
never be able to lay
Did
those.
you-
That's
those
true.
eggs.
But the other thing, though, Mark, is that there are some shows that work differently, where the writers are kind of in a separate silo. They know nothing about production. They don't see the locations. They're kept away from the locations and the actors, and it's considered two totally separate things. But the truth is, filmmaking is all one process, and having the writers come to Albuquerque was just so useful, and have everyone to kind of get the feel for it, even especially those of us who weren't familiar with the place. I think.
And
it
you
was
guys
tremendous.
always have, even when all the writers aren't there, you always have the writer of the episode that's shooting there on the set, right?
We try really hard.
Yeah, whenever possible. Always a helpful thing for
Yeah,
us.
that was that interrogation scene was a perfect example where that was a big influence on what we did.
It's just great to have somebody on set who has been there during the whole process of breaking the story because they understand why certain decisions were made.
You also know more about where it's going than the actors
that's right.
do. So sometimes it's helpful just to have someone there to say, I can't
Let's
tell
not-
you why, but go this direction.
Let's not
you know?
deviate
Yeah.
from this path
Yeah.
because it's going to screw
That
up
has happened,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
future.
Yes.
And usually we would say why. We would say,
Would you really tell an actor what's going to happen in another scene or two?
Yeah,
Certainly broad strokes, yeah.
I don't think there's too many secrets we would keep from
In,
people.
in episode 2, in that scene where Nacho comes up to Jimmy, I remember there were inflections in certain sentences that I think you had asked Michelle to ask me to drop because they incited something that wouldn't work probably for the.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, for some reason, I forget why I was there for episode
Yeah.
2. Oh, because we were prepping episode 3, and I just would take time when we weren't scouting. I would just go to the set.
And it's
hang out.
you die, I think, was so important that
Yeah.
it was a threat, not a throwaway.
Yeah.
And I just want to give a shout out to Terry. He was if ever he's listening to this, he was such a great director. He moved so fast. He trusted, and he just knew exactly when to give a direction and when to step away. And that was really
he really trusts his actors
yeah.
for sure.
And he just comes in at the
likes-
right moment, gives that tap on the shoulder, pushes you in the right direction, and he's just really masterful in that.
He's very talented gentleman.
I love this.
I love that look.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
great-
great to-
Speaking of, effectiveness without a line.
And the interesting thing, and for the folks watching this season for the second time, I think what that means, among other things, is stuff we're going to learn about his relationship to police officers in general, coming up in episode 6. And two dirty officers. Not that these guys are dirty, but two dirty cops killed his son.
They're not dirty, but they're
So
trying to
for
manipulate a
instance-
situation that they're clearly wrong about.
Yeah.
So,
For
Yeah.
instance, had you shared that with him?
I
Excellent question.
don't know if I specifically told him that, but I think it was actually written in the script that there's the touch on the shoulder brings out a feeling about police officers that he's been holding in.
I love there's little bits of promise in this that happen later in episode 6. I love how much Jonathan Banks trusts the camera and to come to him. He never pushes anything, and yet
he'll
he's
punch it
so
in the heart.
Giant
effective.
pain in the
Yeah.
ass on set. Oh my God. It was this day right here where he dubbed me the Little Prince because he wanted to try something.
See, this hurts my feelings because I thought I was the little prince.
He was the Little Prince.
You're the new little prince?
He wanted to do something in a certain way. I can't remember what it was anymore. I don't know if he could remember, but I was like, no, I think you do it this way. And of course, I'm a stubborn asshole. And he's like, okay, where's the Little Prince?
You are incredibly stubborn, but
I love the lighting.
endearing.
I love the nice light from from Dr. Albert.
Yeah, Arthur.
Arthur Albert.
Arthur just does a beautiful job in this stairway. I love this. Is
I
Was
love
that
the
ceiling
paint paling.
cracked like that?
I think that was a lucky happenstance that the tax money in Albuquerque is not going to run out.
Thanks to the Kettlemans.
yeah,
I think that was that paint
Mr.
was like
Kettleman
that.
hadn't
Yeah, if we hadn't stolen that money.
know.
they
Your
could
work's
be-
all
Oh
over
wait,
the
you
place.
admit it.
That
I
1.6.
do like this idea of being a lawyer, like the difference of Howard Hamlin's world of being a lawyer and Jimmy McGill's world of being a lawyer. Like in the courthourthouse, it's kind of falling apart. The
Yeah.
colors are drab. Nothing's pretty.
This is a very good point you're making.
Excellent point.
I know. It's interesting.
I like
I
this
agree.
angle. This is nice. I like how Jimmy's in shadow. Chiaroscuro. Chiara. How do you say
It just
that?
reminds me of classic movies from the 30s
Yeah.
Yeah.
in a good way.
Also, the blocking is really interesting. How Jonathan has the higher position
Yeah.
physically and intellectually or morally. I mean, not intellectually. I mean, he's got the knowledge.
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Well, I think it's great that
He is a
just
very
a
smart guy.
few minutes ago he was just twisting Jimmy's face into
Yeah.
the ground,
Yeah.
and
Now they're
now
on the
they've
same side.
yes, now they've come
Yeah.
to some kind of understanding.
Yeah,
A
and the
little bit.
blocking, he keeps going down and down and down as his monologue, and then they're level face to face, which was really interesting.
This is the first time in this series that you look at Mike and go, oh, he's about a moral code. He's
Yes.
not necessarily about
Stickers.
yeah.
And also,
Just stick it right.
getting episodes ready ahead of time,
Yes.
then we were able to plant the sticker on the Kettleman's car, which I'm not sure if you see in
This is
episode
an
one,
iconic
Yeah.
but
shot.
it's there.
It's there in episode 1.
It's there in
it's
episode
not,
one.
It's not
Prominent.
prominent,
Yeah.
but it is
There it
definitely
is.
there.
Yep.
And it was designed
That was
by
our crew placard for all the vans and stuff.
That's
I
right.
have one of those.
That looks like the
Nice.
pool in.
And
Did you
Walt's
guys?
house?
Was
Yeah.
it a requirement that this house have a pool like this, or was that
No,
a
no.
lucky?
Story-wise, no, not a
in
requirement.
107, there's a great reflection off the pool thing they play that reminded
Yeah.
me of Breaking Bad when he was sitting by the
It's
pool
all
at night.
It's all intentional.
I love
Everything's
the song.
intentional. And this is
Great
with-
song, Bobby Bear.
Bobby Bear. Yeah.
Song from '66 or '67, something like that. Find out what's happening. He was a great old.
So who found this song?
As always, Thomas Golubic and his team. It's a kind of song. Thomas has such a gift for this. This is a song when it first started playing. I've had this reaction a couple times on Breaking Bad 2. The first bar or two, or first few notes of it, I'm like, absolutely not. And then I listen to it a little longer, and then I say, and the reaction is because it is so different than anything I would have imagined. And then I listen to it a little more, and I say, my God, this is great. I would have never in a million years have come up with this song for this bit. But
Yeah.
Thomas,
Yeah.
another one, great one in Ozymandias, Breaking Bad, the Limelighters song when Walt is rolling the barrel through the
There's something
To
Junior
Hajj.
Brownish about this song. Like there's something that lives in
little
that
bit,
same family.
little
yeah.
rockabilly-ish,
Mm-hmm.
little
Yeah.
country, twangy, yeah.
And one of the things that we do in post usually is that we cut these scenes without any music at all.
Yeah.
So that the cutting pattern is really based on based on the images, and
So you don't match it up to the
You don't
music.
match. We
Yeah.
not usually. Sometimes we'll make a little adjustment once we pick the music.
This easily could have been a 20-minute sequence too.
Yeah,
yeah.
A
A lot of
footage. You got
footage,
him
lot of
walking here.
footage.
It could have been, but the weird thing is, these things play without music.
Yeah.
I mean, I would this has a different feeling. It's not as easy to watch. It feels like it takes longer.
But important
it
point you're
also
making.
works.
Because important point you're making and worth reinforcing. If our theory is, not like we invented this or anything, but word to the folks who are going to be the future network execs of this industry. If you can't watch something edited together without a temp track on it, you're doing your job wrong. And I'm just going to say that flat out. So many TV shows and movies are required by the folks who paid for them to have temp music, and if the thing doesn't work edited without music, then it doesn't work. This is great.
This
We
sequence
sang a lot of
shot
bingo this day.
Yeah.
Shot in Algodones, which is the area where Mike dies in Breaking Bad.
Oh.
We're
Not that far.
quite
The
close
river,
to the Rio Grande.
Yeah, the river's right there. I mean, we shot that scene
We had
within
two
a
snake
5-minute
wranglers
walking
on
distance.
set.
Tom, I have a question. Why didn't Jimmy shut the gate?
It's a long story.
I don't know.
Okay.
Why
I
would
didn't
he?
get that.
I
Why
got a
didn't he
character.
what? Sorry.
When
I'll tell
he
you
leaves
why.
the
I'll tell you why.
backyard. When
Because
he leaves the
I'll tell you why,
backyard.
because he doesn't know how
Because he
far he's
know-
going to go, and he doesn't want to get locked out. He doesn't want to have to climb the wall when he comes back.
I assumed he knew that nothing was going to
There
stay.
they
How
are.
cute are those
Yep.
kids?
I love Warren. Is just not having it.
Yeah.
He's had enough.
Now, you think, Julian? Do you think you guys are just naturally this perky with the kids, or are you really working hard to keep them happy, or would you be doing this anyway?
I think that we are naturally this perky and probably working hard to keep it going at this point.
Gotcha. I love
But
your
there's
reaction
something
there.
so relentless about Mrs. Kettleman about it too.
Yeah.
There's something she's like, we are happy, we are perfect.
God damn it!
Yeah,
You're gonna be. You're
we're
gonna
having a good
smile.
time. Damn it!
I love the way Jimmy says, "Here's Johnny" in the teaser, and then here's Johnny.
Yeah, it's always
here.
nice to bookend.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it means, but I love doing it.
It means he's as crazy as Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
But
I
but
love
I couldn't
it.
tell you why he says it. So many,
that shot.
all those
I
years
think-
ago, and he says it again.
I think in the first one he's doing Carson, and the second one he's doing Nicholson. That's
that's
what I
funny.
think.
That's the evolution.
That's the evolution.
I like it. I love your reaction here. That's so good. How dare you? And I love Jeremy there. I love that
Jeremy's like,
Jeremy.
yes, all right.
Yeah,
Jeremy's like, we're caught,
I love it.
and I'm just angry.
I love it.
Oh, what's going to happen in the next episode?
I don't know.
I love the
Watch.
fact that you're the one pulling
The money.
the money. Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Do you know, you don't see it in 104, but when we shot 104, you just see the bag go down, but we shot it from the tent, and Jeremy zips the tent, and he was like, maybe Bob would help you carry the money. I said, oh no. No, Mr. Colin Buxey. I carried it by myself
Yeah.
all the way to the place and put it down. I was like, no.
I love it.
That's,
Thanks everybody for watching and
thanks for
listening.
listening. Can't
Thank
believe you made
you.
it through the whole episode.